What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Climb the Pocket YouTube page. As always, I'm your host, Steve, with my co-host, Ryan. Find him on Twitter at Bootleg Fantasy. Find me on Twitter at Steve_CTP. Check out our website, climbthepocket.com. We got tons of draft advice and in-season content articles dropping for you right now to help you dominate your fantasy football draft and your in-season fantasy football play. Thank you for checking out the channel. Ryan, what's going on?
We're close, Steve. We've got 23 days, I believe. 23 days till September 10th, the first game of the year. And you can taste it. There's a lot of drafts. Draft season pretty much starts this weekend. It's really getting into the main time where everyone's drafting their fantasy teams. We touched on it last video, but we both like to draft as late as possible. I believe our draft is, I think, September 4th, so we're not that close, but it's really barreling down hard. And Corona has kind of messed up my entire timeline. I feel like I've had more time, but we're gonna put a last ditch effort to get everything out there, have all my information ready, and I'm ready for the fantasy football season. So I hope we can help everyone watch and get ready as well.
Yeah, we are in our home stretch of off-season content. That's why we got a mock draft for you today to help you dominate your fantasy football draft. Me and Ryan are going to be going head-to-head, see who gets the better grade. I just threw that on him now. It's going to be a mock draft battle. And we're also going to go over some NFL training camp news. Obviously, if you're on Twitter and whatnot, you see a lot of slow-motion passes from quarterbacks to wide receivers to tight ends who you didn't expect to be catching passes, running backs who are climbing up the depth chart out of nowhere, injuries that are popping up, hamstrings, of course, being pulled. Lots of good stuff, not good stuff for them, but good stuff for us as far as information before your fantasy football draft to help you draft the players that you need to draft during the draft. Did I say draft enough? Let's go ahead and get into the NFL training camp news. First on the board, we got the Green Bay Packers backfield. That's Aaron Jones. And, of course, Big Quad, Mr. Megatron 2.0 of the running back position, A.J. Dillon. Dude's quads are huge. He's getting a lot of buzz, a lot of pictures going all over Twitter. This guy is just gigantic. Haven't seen too much video of him running, just a lot of slow motion stills of his legs, which is fine. As a Packers fan, I'm excited for the weapon that they drafted in the backfield. I kind of thought they should have taken a wide receiver. Obviously, they were probably one of the worst draft grades in the NFL draft this year. But hey, I see A.J. Dillon. He looks strong. We knew he was a big back. We think he's going to get a lot of carries, a lot of involvement in this offense. I've talked about in the past. I think he's kind of just going to take a lot of Jamal Williams kind of snaps. But who knows? Maybe we're seeing all these pictures come out. The team's got some good words about him. Maybe possibly take some reps away from Aaron Jones. I was pretty high on Aaron Jones, but now that it's crazy how fantasy football and NFL Twitter can really sway your feelings. A lot of training camp talk, and I'm just seeing pictures of A.J. Dillon's legs, and I'm automatically kind of moving Aaron Jones down like one or two running back ranks, which is crazy. How do you see that? Just with these pictures coming out and the talk, how do you see it affecting this backfield?
If you got the quads, you show them off. Sometimes, Steve, when I feel like the biceps are looking good, you get a shirt that's a little tighter. You kind of let the pythons run a little bit. I get it. You're gonna wear the 5.5 inseam shorts to practice, and I think hopefully, as a guy that really loves Aaron Jones, I hope this is a lot of the Packers putting out content to make you realize that they didn't just only draft a quarterback in the first round. They got a second-round running back. So to cover up their first-round goof with their second-round goof, they're putting out picture porn of quads. And I'm a big Aaron Jones guy. It's tough to see because he was the most efficient running back in the red zone last year. It was like 17 touchdowns on 33 touches. It's obviously tough to replicate that. No one really can replicate such efficiency. So having a guy that looks like a Mack truck come into the backfield, and it's seemingly the only information coming out of Packers camp is that his quads could crush my head like a grapefruit. It's concerning as an Aaron Jones guy. I definitely am finding myself moving Aaron Jones mentally down my ranks. Plus, they haven't talked about their wide receivers at all there. So, the fact that it's only A.J. Dillon talk is concerning for me as an Aaron Jones guy. So, I do think Aaron Jones is going to lose touchdowns to him. I mean, just look at the guy. He's enormous. Yeah, we haven't really seen him run. We've seen him like go through like some cones and like stand on the sideline, but he looks like an absolute machine.
Yeah, and hopefully, I mean, if we're going to move Aaron Jones down, I assume his ADP probably will follow as training camp goes on. His ADP might drop even a little more, which in that case, I probably will stick to Aaron Jones. And if he comes at a value to me,
For sure.
possibly in the third round, I'll probably snatch that up all day long. Hey, but over in Patriots camp, Damien Harris is getting a lot of work with the first team with new quarterback Cam Newton and Julian Edelman, their wide receiver. It's pretty exciting. And hey, I think you might have called this as one of your sleeper running backs in one of our previous videos.
June 23rd, not to, drop the actual date of when I talked about it. There's a video up on Climb the Pocket, the channel you're on right now. I was talking about how Damien Harris should be able to, step into the fact that Sony Michelle is like the least efficient running back in all of football. We just talked about the most efficient one in Aaron Jones. Sony Michelle is the opposite end of the gambit for efficiency. I mean, I think in the video I talked about how he was like the 70th most efficient running back, where the game script for the Patriots and Sony Michelle was like second in the NFL. So they're not married to Sony Michelle. I know he was a first-round pick. They can move on. Damian Williams immediately steps into running back one territory in New England. I mean, not as a fantasy running back, as their number one running back. They signed Lamar Miller, who's on the pup. Sony Michelle, not practicing. Not as shocking at all. I mean, James White is always there, but they're trying to work on Damien Harris's pass-catching ability. So if he can, have a semblance of a pass-catching role on top of maybe sneaking in first and second down touches ahead of Sony Michelle, I mean, you're getting a steal. I mean, he was running back 71 in that video. I mean, I'm sure he's probably up to like running back 55 and climbing quickly. So Damien Harris, his 4 carries will definitely be multiplied this year. So I really do look forward to whatever he does this year.
Yeah, it's great to see him getting work with the first team. And maybe that's just because Sony Michelle is not on the field. But, hey, Sony obviously has injury issues throughout his career so far. And, hey, if they see Damien Harris and they see him playing well, like you said, I don't think they hesitate to make the move if they like what they see in him. Obviously, James White's still going to be a piece of that offense, but they have different roles, and I think Damien Harris can be a sleeper. I don't think he'll move up too much in drafts, but maybe a little bit. Still a guy that you're probably going to throw a dart on later on. But over in Detroit, Deandre Swift is looking good as a pass catcher. We see Kerryon Johnson is in a leg brace. Not too surprising with that. He's kind of battled injuries himself in his first couple of years in the NFL, and hey, I think the time has come and ended where Deandre Swift is one of the most underrated rookie running backs in fantasy football. A lot of other guys like Cam Akers, obviously Clyde Edwards-Helaire, getting a lot of hype, Jonathan Taylor. But DeAndre Swift, one of the better draft prospects at the running back position, kind of getting thrown in the weeds. Even though I know a lot of people don't have a lot of confidence in Kerryon Johnson, it didn't really reflect DeAndre Swift's ADP, but I think that will move up now, and I do see DeAndre Swift having a pretty large role this year. We'll see if the Lions can capitalize on actually having a good running back, maybe someone who can actually get 1,000 yards. I think Kerryon Johnson will move back to that second running back slot. I don't think they can rely on someone who's injured on and off the field. They want to gain some momentum, and if Swift catches on early with the offense and has a pretty high IQ off the bat, I think he could definitely take this job and receive 60% of the carries, which will be very good for a rookie running back in that offense with Matt Stafford, Kenny Galladay, and a lot of those other good guys there that are definitely going to make that offense go up and down the field a lot in a pretty good competitive NFC North division. So I love this news because, like I said, Swift wasn't getting a lot of talk, and I'm really excited to see him play. Really big fan of him at Georgia, and just coming to the NFL, there wasn't a lot of hype about him as far as fantasy football goes, but that's going to catch on soon. He's going to move up draft boards, which might take him off my draft board, my potential pick. I'll probably stick to a guy, like I said, maybe Cam Akers. I do possibly see Swift jumping him in drafts if he hasn't already. So DeAndre Swift, I do like what I see in Detroit. How do you feel about him?
Yeah, I mean, the Lions haven't had a 1,000-yard rusher since ancient Mesopotamia, so I do think they're looking for somebody to be that guy. I thought it would be Kerryon. I had Kerryon his rookie year. He looked good, but the injuries have plagued him. They seemingly have fallen out of love with Kerryon. He looked great, and then all of a sudden, the injuries just added up, and it doesn't feel good being a carry-on guy because, I mean, the writing is very clearly on the wall. When you hear about rookie running backs doing so well and you don't hear anything else about the other running back, I mean, you can kind of tell what's coming. I'm hoping the Philly kid Swift, he should, by the end of the year, be their main back. If not, that means Carry-On's probably playing pretty well too. It's definitely a situation to just monitor. But Carry-On kind of feels like he's got a little bit of Todd Gurley knee stuff, like where you're not sure what Carry-On you're going to get each week, even if he suits up. So I think they're more comfortable with Swift going forward once he's completely caught up. I mean, being a rookie running back this year is probably the toughest year it's ever been to be a rookie running back. So, like, in a high-passing offense, there's going to be a lot of pass pro for a rookie. As long as he gets the playbook, which he should be in there pretty early.
Yeah, a couple other guys to touch on. Another rookie running back, Jonathan Taylor, is impressing in Colts camp, which is great to hear. We know that he is a really good talent, and if he gains that first job, or that first spot on the depth chart at the RB position, I think the sky's the limit for this guy. Bryan Edwards in Las Vegas is definitely showing out in camp. He's probably going to pass up the hype of Ruggs. He probably won't pass up in draft position, but a lot of people are going to be looking at Edwards in the later rounds as a sleeper in that offense, which has a lot of new weapons. They're probably going to be a pretty good offense. Even with Derek Carr at quarterback, he's one of the more efficient quarterbacks. Maybe he takes a step up this year. I know you don't like to hear it, Ryan, but hey, Bryan Edwards is really good. They obviously have Ruggs. They have Josh Jacobs at the running back position, so I'm excited to watch that. Something I'm intrigued to talk about, though, is Trubisky is looking like the new player, according to Cordell Patterson, for the Bears at Bears camp. It's very interesting to hear because I'm not a Mitch Trubisky guy. I don't think most people are. I think he's had his chance to prove himself in the NFL, and he hasn't really shown out. We saw flashes of a decent player with high upside in 2018 when the Bears went to the playoffs with a 12-4 record. But then last year he takes a huge step back, and the Bears obviously bring in Nick Foles, your guy from Philly, and Mitch Trubisky obviously comes into camp, with a little chip on his shoulder and wants to win that job, and it looks like it's showing. Cordell Patterson is the only one we really heard of that's saying this, but hey, it could be true, and just for fantasy football, Mitch Trubisky has the skill set to where, we want him to be successful because he's got those legs. And the modern fantasy football quarterback.
He does have two legs.
He's got those legs. The legs
that's great.
He could be a running quarterback. He's not your prototypical, pocket passer like Nick Foles, who they brought in. So it's interesting for fantasy football because he could add more on the ground as far as rushing yards. And we all know rushing yards for quarterbacks are kind of a cheat code. But hey, I want to move on.
Josh Allen.
Yeah, you're right. I want to move on to your guy though, Miles Sanders, and give us all the news out of Philly real quick.
Listen, I mean, Dougie P came out and said he's the guy. I mean, I've been saying it for, I don't know, months now that they're not going to bring anyone in to compete with Miles Sanders. They let Jordan Howard walk for a reason. Boston Scott, a fine change of pace guy. That's all he is. No offense to Boston. I loved what he did against the Giants. The spin move down by the 5. That was great. But that's all Boston Scott's going to be. I think Miles Sanders is going to get used 75-80% of the time in Philadelphia. I mean, he's great in pass protection, which is a big thing with a quarterback like Carson Wentz. It's tough to ignore that, especially with one of their all-pro guards going down in Brandon Brooks. It's very important that he's on the field at all times because he probably is their best playmaking option where he can break something off. And I'm very excited to see what they do with him because he's the only guy there. If he goes down, the Eagles could be in a major world of hurt, but he's now sneaking up towards my top 5 running backs. He's not quite there yet. But, if you argued him versus Dalvin Cook, I wouldn't really push it off that far. Like, it's still Cook for me, but if you took Miles Sanders, I wouldn't golf at it. I do think that the offense that's built around Miles Sanders is going to be unbelievable for fantasy production. I would be shocked if he didn't finish as a top 10 running back, and I would draft him accordingly.
Yeah, Miles Sanders is a locked and loaded first-round pick now. Like, I don't think there's any questions. Yeah, maybe in your home league where a lot of people maybe people don't know Miles Sanders so much. People aren't fantasy football savvy. You might get him in the second round, which will be a great value, but he's a first round pick now. I'll take him ahead of a guy like Clyde Edwards-Helaire for sure. I like that offensive line, and I like that team, and I like that Doug Peterson came out and said he's the guy. So anyone saying that they're running a running back by committee, throw that opinion out the door. They weren't doing it last year, and they're not doing it this year. Miles Sanders is a guy. First round pick, your boy from Philly. Let's move into the mock draft. We're going to help you win your fantasy football league. Me and Ryan are going to battle. Let's see who gets the higher grade. I know it's kind of all based on this algorithm on Fantasy Pros, but hey, let's see. I trust them that they are going to pick the true winner of this mock draft.
They've never been wrong. I mean, I would love to see. I put a tweet out at one point where I wanted to see somebody send me a screenshot. I'll Venmo you $5 if you ever get 100% on Fantasy Pros. You can take it 1 billion times. I don't care. As long as you get 100% and send me a screenshot, I will Venmo you $5. Only the first person. I'm not made of money here, but I genuinely want to see what they think is the greatest team of all time.
Yeah, hey, it looks like I got the 3rd pick overall, and then you got, the 9th pick. So we're spread out here. Definitely a couple different strategies we'll probably have to go with here. But, hey, I'm going to make this a quick, easy pick. I like Ezekiel Elliott here after Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley go off the board. Look for a lot of running backs to come off the board early. This ADP is loaded with running backs. And we see just Michael Thomas come off at pick number 5, and you're up at number 9. With 7 running backs off the board.
So the main guys here, Devontae Adams, Joe Mixon, Tyreek Hill, Julio Jones. Man, feels like a tier break to me at running back. I don't love Joe Mixon.
Wait, we just talked about him. Come on, you got to take him.
Listen, I know, but I'm going with my safe pick. And that's... No, I'm going to go your boy. I'm going Devontae Adams. I wanted to go Julio Jones. But, man, it's so tough to go against the volume that Devontae Adams is going to see. So I'm going to be back on the clock.
Patrick Mahomes goes in round 1. See that maybe in your home league? I don't see that in many expert leagues.
Yeah. So I'm now stuck with your boy Kenyon Drake, DeAndre Hopkins, Josh Jacobs, Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm going Josh Jacobs. I need a running back in the first 2 rounds.
Definitely.
Josh Jacobs is going to be another high-volume guy, so I need a guy like that on my team. So, now you're on the clock. Steve,
I do have a dilemma because we did just talk down Aaron Jones, and I'm in the second round. And before these last couple of days, I'd be slamming Aaron Jones at the end of the second round now. George Kittle's available. I love Kenny Galladay, but I do like some of these other receivers that I think might fall to me. I could consider Lamar Jackson, but I do like that kind of second tier of quarterbacks around the Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and take my boy Aaron Jones. I know we said third round would be a little more comfortable, but I like that running back start, and I hope that I can get a wide receiver here right around the turn, which I think I should be able to. And I do have that available. I would have liked Kenny Galladay, but he is above Allen Robinson and Mike Evans in ADP, so he doesn't drop. I like Allen Robinson. I like DJ Moore, and that's pretty much who I'm going to choose between here. And I think I'm going to go with Allen Robinson just because of the great Mitch Trubisky talk that's coming out of Bears camp, already swaying my decisions in fantasy football draft. So I start Zeke Elliott, Aaron Jones, Allen Robinson. Huge wide receiver run comes off, and you're up on the clock at the 3:09.
Yikes. So this is where you take a quarterback, usually the third round. I'm going to go... Oh, dude. I feel like I hit another running back tier break. Todd Gurley just went. James Conner went too. So I don't know. Maybe the running backs are just...
James Conner boosting up ADP. Wow, 302. Yeah, dude, he used to be a fifth-round pick or something earlier in the season.
I hate these running backs. So this is a guy that I never take, and it's mostly because I think he's kind of soft, as his hamstrings are always hurt.
Here we go.
And that's Leonard Fournette. He's going to be gone after this year out of Jacksonville, so if they get the chance to run him into the ground, they will. And I feel pretty safe thinking that, he's going to get a lot of touches. I do like Chris Thompson. Chris Thompson is the only guy in the NFL who gets hurt more than Leonard Fournette. So I feel like he's not going to take too much away from Fournette. I'm back on the clock. I'm lucky enough to have two guys that I really like at wide receiver fall to me. I'm looking at DJ Moore and Robert Woods, Bobby Trees, as I've referred to him previously. But DJ Moore was on my fantasy team last year. He's swept on tremendously. I believe Teddy Bridgewater was a 75% completion on slants. So I do like the fact that, DJ Moore's got somebody that can target him intermediately, and I do really like that hookup this year.
Yeah, I'd be slamming that button on DJ Moore.
Oh,
No
100%.
doubt. I think the last good running back here is Le'Veon Bell, and I'm not a fan of Le'Veon Bell, but he's like the last workhorse available, I guess, if you consider David Montgomery. Because I see that tier break, I am going to take Le'Veon Bell because I like a lot of the guys that are going right behind him. Terry McLaurin, DK Metcalf. I would have liked DJ Chark, but he didn't come back to me. I really want Dak Prescott this year on a lot of my teams. I like that Mike McCarthy came in, and he's always been working with Aaron Rodgers, and he likes to run that kind of like that running back by committee. I know he probably won't do that with Zeke, but he will probably pass a little more than they were in the past with Jason Garrett there. So I do really want Dak Prescott on my teams. And hey, let's see what happens, because I was that close to hitting draft on Dak Prescott, but I'm really considering my boy Terry McLaurin. He's right there. Man, is it in this 12-team league? I don't think quarterback is as important to draft early. I'm going to take Terry McLaurin. I enjoy Allen Robinson and some Terry McLaurin, and I got 3 starting running backs. I like my team so far. You're back on the clock at the 5:09.
So I always look at running backs first. That's kind of what I like to do, just to see if, hey, there's somebody that, we've been sleeping on a little bit. The top running backs available: Raheem Mostert, Devin Singletary, Kareem Hunt, Deandre Swift. There's a lot of smoke to Raheem Mostert. There's also a lot of guys competing there. I'll look at the wide receivers, see what I'm looking at. You got Metcalf, Stephon Diggs, T.Y. Hilton, Jarvis Landry. I don't love really anybody available now. It's kind of tough. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Mostert. I feel like he's the only guy with running back 1 upside, really. I mean, Swift, there's a case for. I know Nick Chubb had a concussion a couple days ago, so I can understand. But, there's a lot to be desired there. So I'm back on the clock. I've filled out my starting lineup, essentially. I've got Jacobs, Fournette, Adams, DJ Moore, and Mostert. I need a quarterback, tight end, and defense. So I'll look at the tight ends. Don't love them currently. I think in the next round or so, that's kind of where I would go, since I didn't go like Kittle or Kelsey. So Ingram, Higby, and Henry are there. But I'm a big proponent of adding running backs that are lead backs in our offense. And there is running back 30 here sitting here for me. I don't think he's going to usually be available here. But that's Ronald Jones. I'm drafting Ronald Jones and putting him right on the bench. I feel pretty good about that. By week 13, doesn't line up with any of the guys on my team currently, so that's beautiful.
Yeah, I've talked about it in the past. I am in the 6th round, and this is kind of the area where I always like to grab a rookie running back, and I've got 2 staring me in the face, and that's DeAndre Swift and Cam Akers. Now, which one has the best path to success? Now, we've seen what Sean McVay can do with a guy like Todd Gurley. I think they do like Cam Akers there. I think he's proving to be pretty well in training camp. But DeAndre Swift, there's a lot of hype about him right now. Do I jump on that? I think I'm just going to stick to my gun and go to the guy I have been going with all offseason, and that's Cam Akers for the Los Angeles Rams. I just hope I hit on that. I obviously already have 3 running backs, but I probably won't draft another running back for a while, and I'll probably just slam the wide receiver position. So if I look at the wide receivers available right now, my best options are Hollywood Brown, Julian Edelman, Marvin Jones, Will Fuller, Brandon Cooks, kind of Deontay Johnson. I think that's a little too early for him. So I'm probably deciding between Hollywood Brown and Julian Edelman. I think Edelman's probably going to move up a little bit in drafts now that Cam Newton's there. I think he has been moving up. He was a little further down in ADP just a couple weeks ago, but now that Cam's there, I think there could be a pretty big role for Julian Edelman. So I'm going to take him as my wide receiver 3. This is a half PPR league, so I think I should get a lot of catches out of him still. So I'm excited for that.
Beautiful. So what I'm going to do here, Steve, is because the wide receivers are all kind of in the same general area, I don't feel, great about them. I'm going to go a different position, and I'm going to
Oh.
go tight end. And there's a guy in Los Angeles
Mm.
that
Oh,
you
which
may
one?
like.
Oh.
I'm drafting Tyler Higby because, that's the fun here because you're a big Higby guy
Yep.
as the number one tight end podcast producers in the world. We love Tyler Higby. So I'm taking Higby there just because the wide receivers are all kind of in the same area for me where I'm okay with them, but they're not blowing me away. But now I can kind of just address depth here.
Hold on just
So
1 second. Tyler Higby, if you're watching this video, just hit us up in the DMs on Twitter and we'll send you a Climb the Pocket hat. And you can wear that on Hard Knocks. Okay, go ahead.
It'd be absolutely beautiful. Uh, but now I'm kind of looking at guys that are in weird situations at running back. I mean, I'm hammering running back because wide receivers so deep this year. I'm going to have, let's see, two, four. This will be my fifth running back, and I might not touch another running back for the rest of the draft just because I know how important it is to have guys that actually get work. It's not James White. I'm going with Matt Breida. I think Matt Breida could win the job in Miami eventually because he's more of a complete back. I know he's an injury risk, but Jordan Howard is, he's one-dimensional. I do like Howard to score more touchdowns, but I don't think that Matt Breida shouldn't be seeing at least 40%.
Okay, so the draft just got ugly. Like, it got a
Oh, yeah,
lot of running backs getting off the board. It's the area where I start considering quarterback, maybe a tight end like you just recently took.
yep.
I do like Carson Wentz. I like Matt Stafford. I like Aaron Rodgers in some way. But there's a lot of guys available still. I think one of those quarterbacks will be available on my next pick. So I'll probably look at the wide receiver position again or possibly the tight end. It's the 8th round. It feels slightly early for a guy like Hayden Hurst. But when you just look at the depth at all these positions right now, there's not much value left unless you're really into one of these guys. So probably just go with my another tight end who I'm a fan of, and that's Hayden Hurst, a guy who's probably going to see a lot of targets there in Atlanta now that Austin Hooper's gone. A lot of hype about him this offseason. Hey, but I can go with my quarterback now, and unfortunately, I'm not going to go with your boy Carson Wentz, Mr.
That's
Glass.
fine.
Glass
That's
legs,
fine.
glass back, glass
That's fine.
body.
You
Gonna
can
go with
be
Matt Stafford,
disrespectful.
a
That's
guy who
fine.
I know I didn't mean it. I do like Carson Wentz this year, but I like Matt Stafford and I like Kenny Galladay. I like
I
T.J.
can't argue with it.
Hawkinson, all those guys there. Deandre Swift. I think it's gonna be a good offense this year. So I'll take Matt Stafford in the ninth. Probably just avoid those two positions till like later on and maybe get a backup.
So I'm looking at my spot here currently. The team in front of me, the team behind me, the team after that, all have quarterbacks. So I can ignore the quarterback currently. I don't need to touch quarterbacks. If somebody wants to take two quarterbacks in your league, let them. It's fine. They can take two quarterbacks. You're going to find value at other positions unless you look at this draft board and you kind of look and you say, eh. Just know that if somebody already has positions filled, they're not going to touch them again. So that's always my philosophy. You can see that on the last video we did. But I don't like anybody on the board currently. You're kind of getting into the handcuff area and you're getting into the quarterback area. But I do kind of like this wide receiver. He's slept on a little bit. He had a pretty solid start to last year. And that's Preston Williams. There's a bunch of wide receivers in Miami that have opted out. So I think Preston Williams is a great pick here. I mean, I've had two Miami Dolphins, which not exactly what you need, but I do like Williams and Breida this year, and I'm back on the clock. I've waited too long. I mean, it was gonna happen anyway. I'm gonna take quarterback 9, but quarterback 1 in my heart, Carson Wentz. He joins the squad, so it's all coming up roses for me, Steve.
I'm happy for you. I'm not happy for myself though, because I really wanted Jamison Crowder. I thought he would slip to me, but he did not. So now I am a little thin at the wide receiver position. I have Allen Robinson, Terry McLaurin, who I love, and I have and Julian Edelman, who will be reliable in some way. But wide receivers are real thin here, guys. It's not pretty. Anthony Miller is probably my best available, and then it's a pretty big drop off from him. Maybe Golden Tate, but I think I can wait on a couple of those guys. I guess I'm looking at kind of backup running backs here, and I don't really see. I mean, my handcuff Tony Pollard is a little further down. I think I can wait around on him. Man, this is definitely a tough spot, guys.
It's getting tough.
Be prepared during drafts. I said it during my draft tips video. Be prepared with the guys you like, so you don't get caught like I am right now in the middle of your draft, just scrambling looking for a pick. You don't want to be in that position. It is not suggested to be in my position right now. I'm just going to take Latavius Murray. He's a guy that I've talked about all offseason as one of the better handcuffs. Someone that, wow, look at it. It's handcuff season. Oh, my gosh. I should have just went with Tony Pollard. I should have just went with him. I thought maybe I could get him like around, whatever. Don't get your handcuff when you got to get him. Man, that's crazy. Darrell Henderson, Alex Madison, Tony Pollard. Technically, 2 of my handcuffs go off the board. That's crazy. I'll accept it, though. I'm not hurt. I'm taking Anthony Miller. Oh, and I have 2 Chicago Bears wide receivers. So that's super planned. I think that team is going to be the best team in the league this year, and their offense will be historic. So go ahead. You're at the 11-9.
Okay, so now after taking a couple stabs in the dark, taking a couple shots with Matt Breida, Preston Williams, back-to-back Dolphins, no big deal. I'm going to take old reliable here. I'm taking Golden Tate. I mean, he's good for his 11 points a week, and you need somebody like that on your bench just to get you through a week, and I feel pretty good about that.
He would have been my pick. He would have been my pick. I messed up. God. All right, Ryan has Anthony Miller on his team, and I have Golden Tate.
Yeah, that's how that works. Because I definitely would take an Anthony Miller.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna do the thing that I tell people not to do. And I saw a Twitter video of Justin Jefferson looking sick, and I'm gonna draft Justin Jefferson strictly on the fact that he was looking sick. He's the wide receiver 2 there, most likely. Could be wide receiver 1. Who knows? He could pass Adam Thielen. But I do really like Justin Jefferson's optics this year. I feel like he's going to be a stud.
If you don't have Twitter, and you're watching this video, you are getting all the same news in a mock draft. Like, that's what's happening. We're literally taking all the hype from training camp shown on Twitter and just throwing it into this mock draft. That's what's happening. Because I don't think I've seen Ryan draft Justin Jefferson once this year. I was talking up Deandre Swift and considering him. I haven't considered him all year. So that's happening right now. I am on the board. I have some pretty good running back depth. I'm probably going to continue to look at the wide receiver position, although, like I said, it is thin. N'Keal Harry is a guy I might take a shot on. Alan Lazard for the Packers is someone I want to be good, so I might take a shot on him. And I'll probably just go with N'Keal Harry. I'm not excited about that pick at all. Not at all. It was just and I have Julian Edelman. This is going to be a bad grade, guys. This is going to be bad.
I feel great about your grade personally.
Yeah, I am not feeling great. I'm going to take a backup tight end now, and I'm going to take Noah Fant. I'm going to take Noah Fant for the Broncos. And
it's your first good pick.
He could be a good upside pick. I already have a tight end, but it's Hayden Hurst. We don't know. And we also don't know about Noah Fant. But if one of these guys breaks out, I'm trying to trade one of them to get some better wide receivers on my team. So
listen, I know that I'm not a huge proponent of 2 tight end picks, but I'm going to do the same thing. And I'm going to do, the only stack that I've been talking about, the only safety blanket that we have. That's the jack of all trades, Jack Doyle in Indianapolis. Wow. I love Doyle because
we haven't talked about him in a while.
I know we have not talked about the jack of all trades, which hurts a little bit. Now I get to draft a defense.
A defense. So. We have any sleeper defenses you got?
Yeah, whichever one's playing against. I don't know who's a bad team. Whoever's playing
the Jets.
Whoever's playing against the Bears, and they're going to lock up all of your wide receivers. And this is going to affect my draft grade, I assume. So I'm going to just take the Kansas City Chiefs. Their defense.
Wow, you're cheating. He's cheating. Put it on the record. He took the best available, so the algorithm definitely helped him out. You know what?
That's fine.
I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take the Eagles. I'm going to take the Eagles. It's fine. Oh, what did you get? What's your grade?
View draft analysis. Let me see. I got an 85.
94. Your champ. Let's go. My starting lineup is Matt Stafford, Ezekiel Elliott, Aaron Jones, Allen Robinson. Ryan's face right there is showing it all. Terry McLaurin, Hayden Hurst, Le'Veon Bell. What a studly lineup. I love it. My bench kind of sucks, but hey, all that matters is I got 94. What's your starting lineup?
Now that I'm reading my team back, I understand an 85. if you can not draft from the 9 spot, I would advise. But it's Wentz, Josh Jacobs, Fournette, Devontae Adams, DJ Moore, Higby, Mostert, Kansas City Chiefs. So I don't love the team, but I'm learning is all I can say. Essentially, I'm picking third in my home league. I have not really picked from the 9 spot. I don't like it, and I feel bad for people that are in their main leagues picking from the 9 spot, especially shout out Alex in my home league who is picking from the 9 spot.
Dude, I want like a top 6 pick. Like, that's just what I need. I don't want to be in the back. I want one of those top heavy hitters at the top of the draft. But hey, man, I had a good time in this mock draft today. A little more fun than normal. Hey, we're going to be giving you guys like tons of this stuff. I think we're going to do another mock draft next week. Just giving you content to help you dominate your fantasy football draft. I've said it a billion times. What do you do? Hey, surprise video coming this week? Possibly. Another mock draft. It's draft season. I'm so excited, man. I'm sweating right now because I just – it's the 18th. I know you said September 4th is far away, but that's like literally just a couple weeks. I'll be on my draft trip. We'll be, drafting live. It's going to be great. I'm going to have a great time. Everyone's going to have a great time. Have a good time at your drafts. Like, it's going to be the best time of the year. Playing is fun, but the draft is definitely the highlight of fantasy football. 100%. So thanks for sticking around. If you like today's video, like the video, actually like this YouTube video, drop a comment below on which pick you thought maybe was a bad pick, maybe what pick you really enjoyed, and subscribe to the channel if you like what you see in our content, like some of our other videos. We definitely appreciate you following. It definitely helps us grow, and we're trying to bring you content and try to keep the motivation going to help you win your fantasy football championship every single year, but mostly 2020 because that's this year. Thank you for sticking around. Ryan, thanks for joining me today. Until next time, thank you. Have a nice day.